Another lightning talk concerns design thinking. Speaker, Michał Prorok, currently working as delivery manager, will take you on a journey entitled Design Thinking, not only for extroverts. Michał is an experienced manager in IT industry. Moreover, for 6 years was active in Project Management Institute, Poland, where he had an honor to be a managing director for Wrocław Branch. Originator of the Management 360 conference in Wrocław, as well as PMIthon, a hackathon-style event for project professionals. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Michał Prorok.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for this lightning talk. I hope you can hear me all right. Right, I said it last year because it's my second time on Code Dive conference, and I will say it how many times, however many times the organizers will accept me as a speaker. It's always good to be back in those screening rooms that I used to clean so many times because I worked here, but a slightly different position than now. Today I want to show you how introverts bring unique value and are indispensable when it comes to the design thinking process, and why embracing their strengths can lead to breakthrough solutions. But let's start with the basics. Oh. Slight technical issues. Let's check it out. Okay, I will use the keyboard then. Right, introverts, extroverts. You may ask what? What is it? I think it's getting more and more common knowledge to know those terms, but still, let's start on the same page. Those are basically types of personality types. These terms were rooted in psychology and are often associated with Carl Jung's theory of personality types. We often use them as a flattened version of the information provided by the theory, but they form part of the broader spectrum of individual differences in temperament and behavior. What really does it mean to be introverted or extroverted? Let's start with extroverts, because they would be the first one to talk when asked, right? Extroverted people, we tend to perceive them as very open, very social, very energetic, people who would raise their hands when asked if there are questions in the room, right? Extroverted person tends to gain energy from social interactions. As opposites, we have introverts. Introverted people gain energy from solitude and internal reflection. They tend to spend time on their own when they want to chill, right? Extroverted person would call their friends and ask, hey, are you going out? Are we doing something? I need to relax. Introverted person would rather stay home with a great book. And we are talking today about introverts mostly, but let's destroy everything that I have just said. And let's introduce ambiverts, just for sake of inclusion. I am actually an ambiverted person because I don't really mind standing before you and talking, and I also gain energy from doing that, but I will be sleeping for the next 4 days after that, just to regain my composure and be able to go back to work. So ambiverts are flexible, extroverts gain energy from being outside, introverts gain energy from being inside themselves, their house, their room, whatever it may be. So, we know what personality types are, but there are more differences between people to take into consideration when creating a communication pattern or making them participate in design thinking process. Let's look at neurodivergence. Neurodivergent people are individuals whose neurological development and functioning differs from what is considered typical, right, or neurotypical. The term encompasses a wide range of cognitive, developmental, and behavioral variations, and is often used to challenge the notion of a single normal way of thinking or behaving. It's more and more accepted, more and more understood, and the types of neurodivergence are widely explored, to be honest, at the moment. We still don't know many things about it, but we know more than even 5 years ago. Some of more recognizable examples of neurodivergence are ADHD, OCD, autism spectrum disorder, dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, or Tourette syndrome. I think most of them you may know, most of those you may know. What I didn't know what is dyspraxia, to be honest, because dyslexia is a difficulty with words, with writing, with reading. Dyscalculia is with numbers, with maths, with calculating, and dyspraxia is impacts motor skills and coordination. So basically we have those three terms encompassing all aspects of the development of a person. Right, let's pause those psychological terms for a moment and let's look on another side of the fundamentals of our discussion today. Design thinking. We are talking about introverts in design thinking, so it would be nice of me to tell you what design thinking is if you don't know that. So design thinking is a problem-solving framework that focuses on understanding users, challenging assumptions, redefining problems, and creating innovative solutions through a human-centered approach. Very nice definition, but what it means, it's a set, I like to call it as a toolbox or a utility belt with a set of tools, processes, procedures, ways basically to make people collaborate, to make people understand each other better and come up with a solution while looking at the human experience during the design and during the use of the designed tool, process, any outcome that it may be. Right, so what are the key characteristics of design thinking as a methodology, as a framework? It is human-centered, as I mentioned, so the human experience of the design, of the outcome is in the center of the process itself. It is iterative, so we test, we try, we improve. It is empathy-driven, so it is important to understand what our key stakeholders and people involved in the process are thinking and are feeling and are contributing. It is collaborative, so we focus on collaboration, of course. So we focus on having everyone included and everyone contributing to the idea to the best of their abilities and their wants and needs, of course. It is problem reframing. So we focus on the problem statement as many times as is needed to provide different perspectives and to provide possibility for everyone to understand it in their own unique way. So those are 5 key characteristics of the design thinking process. But what is a design thinking process? Because I still haven't told you that. It basically looks like this. So we start with a step called empathize, then define, ideate, prototype, and test. It may seem similar to those of you who work in Agile. It's not that far away from that. But the first step is empathize instead of any sort of analysis, right? So we need to gain a deep understanding of the user's needs through interviews of our key stakeholders, through observations, and other research methods, whatever they may be. It would differ on the subject matter that we want to investigate. Then we define, we synthesize our finding from the empathy phase, from those interviews, from those research outcomes, to clearly articulate the problem or a challenge. Because we may think we know what the problem is and what do we want to get from the process. Then we ideate, we brainstorm, we create solutions. We go into the prototyping phase, where we build a tangible representation of the idea. It may be even a mirror board, right? But we have to show something to again, consistently understand in the team, what are we doing, basically. And then we test. We test the prototype with users, gather feedback, and refine. And actually, in this phase, my favorite tool is called create, destroy, and fix. So one person creates something, the other person lists everything that is wrong with this idea, basically destroys the idea, and the third person tries to fix that. And then we get to the outcome, right? So why is design thinking perceived as it is for extroverts only, as it is designed for extroverts only. Basically, it emphasizes group activities. So brainstorming sessions, workshops, collaborative discussions can be daunting for an introverted person. Again, rapid ideation and spontaneity. Brainstorming, a commodity activity, encourages quick, spontaneous solutions, speaking what are you thinking, and providing feedback in very quickly manner. So it again may be scary for people who are more introverted, who would like to have a bit of an introspective. Social and public interaction, so easier interviews, so you have to talk to people, you have to present your ideas, you have to speak in a large setting. And then facilitation and leadership roles. So we have people who facilitate the workshops, and they are kind of hierarchical. Sorry. So if they lead, they are our boss in this setting. That may be daunting as well, and I have to keep the pace up. Challenges for extroverts, for introverts. Sorry. Pace of collaborations, dominance in group dynamics, preference for solitude. But design thinking can work well for introverts as well. Why is that? So it is empathy focused, as you know. So introverts often excel in listening and observing. So those are critical for understanding users' needs. So they can be very well adept in conducting those interviews and getting information from the users, even if they are kind of scared to talk to people, right? They are creativity depth, as I called it. Introverts bring deep, thoughtful perspective because they tend to be inside, right? They have introspective going on often, all the time. You can decide on your own. And they bring those skills to the problem-solving phase. The framework is structured, so a introverted person, knows what is going to happen next, even if it is like a chaotic discussion and then people are sharing their ideas very quickly. They know what is the next step of the process. And they bring diverse strengths in collaboration. And if they are in the know, if they know that they are appreciated, they can provide great value because they have ideas and they just need to be listened to. How can design thinking be inclusive? What really can we do to provide that? We should incorporate reflection time. We should allow the individuals time to process and develop ideas independently before group discussions. There are tools, of course, for that. For example, there is a tool that breaks the issue into small sections of several minutes, starting with let's say 12 minutes for creating ideas. Then we have to select them. Then we have to do something else. And then we go down in time, right? The last piece of this exercise, the last 1 minute, and you have to make a rapid decision. And then they can use this knowledge and share it with the group instead of just talking. Facilitate equitable participation. So use structured activities like round-robin sharing. So go around the table and ask everyone to share so they have their time and space to say what they have in mind. For them not to have to yell because another person is yelling because they have great idea, right? As stereotypical extroverted person. We can leverage asynchronous tools. We can employ online platforms like Miro or Mural for ideation and collaboration for introverted person to get in grips with their idea before sharing. We can create smaller, more intimate groups. We can break out those sessions into smaller ones to allow people to get more familiar with their surroundings, with people they are cooperating with. And then selected person from the group could share the outcomes of the discussions. We can utilize written and visual expressions. So we would like to encourage drawing, diagramming, creating those prototypes that I mentioned, and allowing people to use alternative ways to communicate their ideas during ideation process. So basically, you should have a whiteboard or any paper in the room, or Miro. Focus on individual contributions. Assign specific roles or tasks that people could play and people could use their individual strengths in those tasks and ideas. Especially in prototyping stage, if you ask an introverted person who knows that they cannot draw for the life of them, they will be very stressed, right? So find someone who can draw. And last one, reframe the facilitation process. Assign specific roles or tasks that play to individual strengths, including the facilitation, because the facilitator is a key player in the process that encourages the people to share, that encourages the process to go on, and allows people, especially introverted ones, to express themselves freely. You might be thinking then, why put so much attention on all of this? Because it's not easy to be that inclusive, right? Introverts are often seen as quiet, reserved, hesitant to take center stage, but did you know that they have some of the best ideas, and they are ranked as some of the best collaborators in design thinking if done properly? People who deal with design thinking, including in Progress Design Thinking Lab, made some checks during their processes, and introverted person are really great collaborators. So next time you step into a design thinking session, ask yourself, how can I make room for introverts taking part in this process? And if I would like to leave you with something, introverts aren't a limitation. They are a hidden advantage to the process. So we just need to be mindful to start designing with them and for them, because they are our users as well, so we can get better results. Sorry for taking longer than I should have. If you want to connect, this is my LinkedIn. I will be posting again about design thinking and business psychology. So thank you.